Thank you, Marty Reed. O'Reilly Raceway Park for NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying. Just a real short trip from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In fact, a very short chopper ride as you see Carl Edwards, Paul Menard, Reed Sorensen have just landed here at O'Reilly Raceway Park. A few moments prior, Brad Keselowski arrived, and of course, Brad K and Carl Edwards, two of the big stories as we come into O'Reilly Raceway Park for the 20th race of the NASCAR Nationwide Series season. Edwards and Keselowski getting together last week at Gateway. Sparks flew on that particular event. The final lap, Brad Keselowski in the 22 getting inside of Carl Edwards. They make contact. Edwards managed to save it. Keselowski indicated his car just got away from him a little. Carl thought it was intentional, and Edwards paid him back coming off turn 4 when Edwards spun Keselowski. Keselowski makes contact with the wall, and Edwards goes on to win the race. Penalties handed down this week because of that incident. Both drivers put on probation, and Carl Edwards was penalized 60 driver points, and now they come to O'Reilly Raceway Park. You thought there was some beating and banging going on last week at Gateway. Wait till you see it tonight on the short track, along with Rusty Wallace and Ricky Craven. I'm Vince Welch. Keselowski was fastest in the afternoon practice. Carl Edwards 25th on the speed chart. What did you make of that, Ricky?
Well, they don't pay any points for practice, but so far Brad Keselowski's executed perfectly. He's doing this in spite of losing his favorite car last week. So he comes here with a new car. He was fast in practice. He ran a lot of laps. I like that. That suggests he's very comfortable in the new car, and I think he's making a statement here. Trevor
Bayne on pole last year, and who do you like so far from what you saw in the practice this afternoon, Rusty?
Well, Vince, right now I like Ron Hornaday. I watched Hornaday win that truck race last night. He looked fantastic out there, and I really think that he learned a lot last night, which is going to help him tonight when they race here at ORP. Air pressure, springs, shocks, things like that. I just like that repetitive motion. He looks fantastic. He was third in practice.
Keep this in mind, the last 13 races here at O'Reilly Raceway Park, we've had 13 different pole winners. First man out is Robert Richardson Jr., and he had a pretty solid practice. He was 16th in the final practice session.
Had a good practice. The team members were a little preoccupied with being the first car out, but I can relate to that. You never want to be the first driver out, regardless of what track you had.
When you're the first guy out, Ricky, I mean, I think this really bugs you. You're thinking, hey, this is wrong. I mean, unless you're at Indianapolis Motor Speedway at 10 o'clock this morning when a cool track was the track to be on. But right now, going out first is in your head. It's like, hey, there's been people driving around this track, walking around it, getting it dirty. Hey, I don't want to be the first guy out.
That's a solid first lap, though.
See his time, 22.945. Member of our broadcast team is Rick DeBrule and Shannon Spake, both on pit lane tonight. Let's go down to Rick. He's with Brad Keselowski.
That's right. Brad Keselowski just arrived on the track after yet another chopper ride. Let's talk about a couple things. I know we keep talking about. We have to talk about the incident. Well, first of all, you've been fast twice today. Let's talk about today. How'd you pull that off, being so fast with so few laps right off the bat?
It's great cars, great discount tire Dodge Chargers. They're fast, and it makes my job easy. So it's amazing how good you can look when you have great cars, and I think this is a really good car. It was really fast in qualifying trim and really fast in race trim. So hopefully we can carry that over to a pole run here in the next minute or two.
All right, now let's talk about tonight and the incident. Are you really excited for tonight to happen? You want tonight to go by so we can stop talking about the incident?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you just want to get back on the racetrack and get a race. You know, it's cool. I got the race Sunday in May to kind of put some of it behind me in my own mind, and it'll be even better to get the race here tonight in ORP and be in the same car with the same team and re-energize and refocus on winning races and going for this championship.
All right, Brad Keselowski out here getting ready to refocus, as he says.
Keselowski will go out 8th. You saw Brian Scott in the 11 make a nice little save there coming off turn 4. His fastest lap, 22.752, so that's the fastest of the two qualifiers.
And that is a really good lap for Brian Scott. That car looked good. I mean, we talked earlier in our broadcast in practice this morning, if you saw that this racetrack's got many grooves, the bottom, the middle, and the top. He ran right around the middle of the racetrack, and that's a good line around here for qualifying. You'll see him on top for tonight. But Brian Scott, good job out of him. Currently P1.
Here's one of the teenagers, Matt DiBenedetto, just 18 years old, driving for Joe Gibbs in that 20 car. He's made 4 starts this season. His best finish was 10th. His best start, 4th at Memphis, and he got it around pretty good in practice today, too.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of experience with this type of racetrack, short track. And they're a little finesse, a little aggressive with the accelerator there, but he has continued to impress everybody. He had a tough lift last week, wreck at Gateway, and so he's coming back here for some redemption, and he looked good in the second practice.
Well, that's a good lap, too, Ricky. 22.63. That puts him at the top of the board right now. That car looked good off of turn 4. Had a lot of forward bite. Looked like it's handled great for him.
It's going to be fun for us, Rusty, to watch these drivers through the turns to see which lane, and you talked about several lanes, which lane they choose, because we're sort of debating. We think that the short way around is going to be the pole way around, but some of the drivers might favor the high side.
DiBenedetto, fastest of the 3 qualifiers so far, and as Rusty noted, that lap of 22.63 was his quickest of the 2. That was his first lap, and just not too bad on the second lap, actually, a 67, but that's 63, the best lap for Matt DiBenedetto. You guys mentioned the combination of the DiBenedetto and Brad Coleman and the contact that they had last week. Coleman practiced the 18 for Kyle Busch earlier today. But Kyle will actually be in the car for qualifying. As you take a look at Jason Leffler in the 38.
He loves this place. He had his first win here, and a first win for Toyota, actually, when they got involved in NASCAR. So this is a track that he really loves. And let me tell you, whenever you get to go to a track that you really like, there's something there. You can seem like you can make that car run better. I tell people all the time, I mean, Bristol was my favorite racetrack, and when I went there, it seems like I always could pick it up because I like the track so much.
It really helps. No question about it. And it looked like he had a pole run until the exit of turn 4.
22.65, so just a little bit slower than DiBenedetto. Former pole winner here, Jason Leffler, was on pole in 2000 and won this race in 2007. Let's see what he does on his second lap. Just a little bit slower, 22.69. So Jason Leffler's run, second quickest so far. We've had 4 qualifiers. Matt DiBenedetto out of the Joe Gibbs stable is quickest so far. NASCAR Nationwide Series from O'Reilly Raceway Park. Back at O'Reilly Raceway Park for NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying. Mike Wallace just finishing up his qualifying run, and you see his best lap was his second lap, 23.12. Former winner here at O'Reilly Raceway Park in the Nationwide Series.
Pretty good run. Got a new sponsor there, Indiana Live Casino. Something different on that car most every week, but you know, nowadays in this economy events, it's what it takes.
Got to work hard to get it to the track, that's for sure.
A lot of excitement here, guys. And Kevin Swindell, the buzz of the garage, you know, high expectations, and you think about what he's done in a short time with his career. It's going to be fun to watch.
21 years old. He's the son of Sammy Swindell, the 3-time World of Outlaws champion. Got racing in the blood.
Well, he knows how to run it sideways then, that's for sure. Because in those sprint cars, man, those babies are hung out all the time. There you go. Only problem he's got right now, though, Ricky, in practice, he was 32nd quick. He's really going to have to pick this thing up if he expects a good qualifying run. First lap, 22.78. 4th quick.
Impressive.
Started 14th at Gateway last week. Made his Nationwide Series debut at New Hampshire in June. Started 20th. 4th quickest so far, Kevin Swindell. Hey, Rusty Wallace said that he thought Ron Hornaday was a guy to keep an eye out for the pole here tonight, and he is standing by with Rick DeBrule.
That's right. One of the reasons is because he won the truck race last night. Oh, you know, we were just asking a moment ago, do you get a little extra energy today as a result of the victory last night?
Well, I hope some of it pays off, but actually these are the shocks and everything off the truck. So Ernie Cope with both truck and the car set up the same. Hopefully she drives the same way. The Jimmy John Chevrolet's been pretty good off the truck.
Now let's talk about Ernie Cope. Is it an advantage having Ernie Cope in your ear last night and then again today as a team process?
Yeah, that was a smart move on Kevin's part. Ernie to take one of his days off to come here and help us and learn a little bit. Him and I, we've been friends for a long time, been racing together, so it pays off.
All right. Ron Harnaday Jr. getting ready to go out and do his thing. By the way, just asking about stats and that kind of thing. He says, I don't look at stats. I can look at those someday when I'm done with my grandkids.
Vince, you see Michael Annett out there in the racetrack now. He's been really good all year long. We've seen him have some flashes, some really fast speeds, and he's got himself in some wrecks. But this year has been a better year from Michael Annett. He's looked real impressive this year.
13th in the points. Was 9th at Nashville back in April. Fastest time for Michael Annett, 22:94. Currently 5th out of the 7th. And let's go to Shannon Spake. She's with Matt DiBenedetto.
And Vince, it was a real heartbreaker for Matt last weekend at Gateway, both you and your teammate. But, you know, with Coach Gibbs and J.D. Gibbs as your leaders at Joe Gibbs Racing, really the best motivational speakers out there, what kind of advice did they have for you moving forward to this weekend?
Yeah, you know, I stopped in the office on Monday. As soon as I got back into the shop and talked to JD, and he's like, man, that's not the last race car you're going to tear up, unfortunately. You know, that's just the way it goes, and you got to have a positive attitude and just move on forward. So, you know, it happened, it's done, and now I'm really looking forward to this. Good old short track racing here tonight, my entire background, actually. So I like the track. The car's pretty decent. We had an early draw there, so it's a little bit slick, but just proud to have, you know, game plan for life, and I'mSecond.com. Car looks good and ready.
And happy early birthday. Matt will be 19 next Tuesday. Feels old, huh, you guys?
DiBenedetto had been quickest until Brad Keselowski just laid that lap down at 22:61.
And he's running as low as anybody we've seen so far. So short way around, Rusty, maybe the ticket.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's a great lap for him. In fact, the first lap was the quickest, 22:61. Now, look, that matched what he did earlier today for practice. He ran a 22:62, so very consistent. But, Ricky, you brought up a great point right there. There's a lot of options on this racetrack. You can run the bottom, the middle, the top. We're going to see it all night long, and I believe it's a topic of conversation we'll have throughout the day. What line is best? And I think this racetrack gives you the option to pass a lot of cars because you can run all over it. We just saw Keselowski way down low.
Keselowski's won the pole 4 times already this year. Currently the provisional pole sitter as we see Jason Keller take the green flag in the 35.
I don't think a 61 is going to be fast enough for the pole, though. That's my opinion. What do you guys think?
Well, I think there's drivers saying that it might cool down a little bit more. This thing started about 5:10, and, you know, about another hour from here, it might cool off a little bit more. And this track is very heat sensitive, so, hey, it might get quicker.
We saw the cloud cover come in earlier during practice today, came in quick, moved out fairly quick, too. So you never know exactly what you're going to get weather-wise. As you see, Keller put up a time 22:99, currently 8th quickest out of the 9 qualifiers. So first of his 10 Nationwide Series wins came right here at O'Reilly Raceway Park back in 1995. You always like those places to go back to, don't you?
Always. So you speak back to the mentality of a driver. You say, all right, your wish list. Do you want more horsepower? You want a better handling car, or do you want a cloud? Give me the cloud. The cloud fixes everything. It drops the track temp, and it gives you more grip. It feels great.
How many times have you seen drivers out there going, man, I hope we go when the cloud happens? And it's such a good feel all the time to look up and get ready to go, Vince. It's a good feel.
Qualifying continues at O'Reilly Raceway Park. Stay tuned.
NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying is brought to you by Quiznos. Buy an entree and get a kid's meal free all day, every day at Quiznos.
Back at O'Reilly Raceway Park, NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying. Joe Nemechek just pulling off after running a fast lap of 23.026. That's 9th quickest out of the 11 so far. Tony Raines also qualified while we were away, and Raines is currently 10th on the chart. There's the 7 of Josh Wise running for Junior Motorsports this weekend.
Josh Wise got the ultimate compliment about an hour ago. Tony Ure Jr. told me, Ricky, he can drive my car anytime. He's that impressed. I just thought that was a great endorsement for that young man. Now he can go out and back it up.
He's made 3 starts in the 7 car. Had a handful there as he came off, and you can see Tony Ure Jr. the right side of your screen. I think Josh Wise, one of those guys that they're looking at to possibly run that 88 full-time next year.
No question. He was all praise, and he likes what he does inside the car. He loves his feedback, his communication. Said he doesn't get wound up. He's got a lot of composure.
You see right there, Right now, he's 8th quick, 22.94 at 5. You know what? The tough thing about a driver like this getting in, he doesn't get enough reputations on the car. I mean, to stick a guy in for one race and say, go, Cat, go, it's a tough deal. I mean,
well, even when they put him in, they said priority number one is just bring the car back in one piece, because remember they'd had some incidents and so forth, and so he's been able to drive it 3 times. This would be his 4th start here tonight for the 7 and Josh Wise. And let's go to Shannon Spink.
Well, Brad Keselowski on the provisional pole right now, but if you listened on his radio, you would have thought he didn't get it. You sounded a little disappointed. Did you leave something out there?
Yeah, definitely left something out there. So it's beatable. I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up somewhere around 5th. But still a great effort. We'll just have to see how it shakes out. This is a really fast race car, so we'll run a smart race tonight and hopefully be up front at the end.
Is this your new favorite race car, Brad?
Well, this is my new favorite short track car. It's not a new car. It's a car that we rebuilt. It's actually a fairly old car, so it's fast, and you always like cars that are fast.
Keselowski on the provisional pole.
Well, and Ron Hornaday in the 33 had a fast truck last night. He won the truck series, and he's got a pretty fast car here. 22.77 on the first lap, and the second lap is even quicker, 22.64.
Ricky, I tell you what, through turn 3 just then, that hot rod was sailing through turn 3. If he could have made it off of turn 4, he would have definitely had the pole. Ron got that thing down the back straightaway, arced it into turn 1, and picked the throttle up and carried so much speed to the center of the corner, but he paid the price on the exit of turn 4.
And sometimes it's because you did so well off the exit of 2, and you feel so good about what you just did, you carry too much speed, like you said, Rusty, and pay the price for it in the middle of the corner.
So you're trying to tell me that old car felt like it had 100 more horsepower coming out that back straightaway, right? Well, he did great. I mean, that's a good run, 3rd quick. And he was 3rd quick in practice when it was all said and done today.
There's the 88, Eric Almirola. We saw his teammate, Josh Wise, in the 7 just a couple of moments ago. Now Almirola in the 88, working with Tony Uri Sr. for the first time.
He was like a kid in a candy store earlier this morning when I talked to them. He's just really, really excited about this opportunity. He's had success here before. Winning the pole would not be a surprise.
Oh, look at that pole run so far. 22.60 out of Almirola. Good run out of him. And they've had 2 bad runs in a row with the truck series. Iowa had a problem last night here at IRP, but it's looking good for him right now.
And it's about capitalizing. When you have an opportunity like this, and Eric's got quite a bit of experience, it's about capitalizing. I want to capitalize on this opportunity.
14th different driver to run for Junior Motorsports this season, and he capitalized indeed. A 22.602, his fastest of the 2 laps, and that's good enough for the top spot.
Well, I guarantee Eric's saying right now, okay, boys, take that one. Beat it if you can beat it. That was a good run.
Well, you heard Keselowski say that he didn't think his speed was going to hold up. He thought it might be about 5th quick. Almirola just beats it here. And now on the track now, we've got the 99 of Trevor Bayne, who was the pole winner a year ago.
This will be a great test. One of the guys, it's about putting together a smooth lap. Drivers can feel good about their lap, Rusty. They can come in and say, boy, I wrung it out. But they don't, sometimes when you try too hard, you use more brake than you should. That slows the car down. And then you go back to mashing the gas on the exit. It's about being smooth. This lap looks smooth.
Well, this guy's mashing the gas, too. Look at our machine right there off of turn 2, man. He's up in green the whole time, and now off of turn 4.
I think he's got it.
He does indeed. 22.46.
That's awesome. I think I just jinxed Eric by saying, look at that one.
In comparison, Bayne ran a 22.29 last year. Was the weather a little bit different this year, so the track's got a little something different in it. But
and the second lap's looking quicker, Vince.
Absolutely.
Winning the pole on these short tracks is about carrying speed through the middle of the corner.
Oh, man, 22.42, even faster. I mean, they're going to have to nickname this guy the Polecat. Well, he's been getting it done.
And let's give some attention to the fact that we did get that cloud cover, Rusty.
Well, you know what? He does have a cloud cover. The racetrack has definitely cooled down. At least the sun's off of it right now, and that's big.
So Trevor Bayne on pole for this race a year ago, currently on pole again in the 99. And he got a little momentum going. He finished 3rd last week at Gateway, and that doesn't ever hurt you either.
It's worth its weight in gold, and momentum is hard to get.
So while Bayne pulls it in, we'll look at the 12 of Justin Allgaier. Team Penske Racing has won both the short track poles so far this year. Keselowski was on pole at Richmond, and Allgaier, who you see here, was on pole in Bristol.
Justin ran the most laps in the second practice. That may not win him the pole, but that certainly benefits him for the race. I like that.
Won the races on the short track, the 2 short track races, not the 2 short track poles.
First lap, fourth quick, 22.63. That's another good lap. I think anything that's in the 60s is pretty doggone respectable. And he has been fast all year long everywhere he's went. But just of late, he's had some crashes and had some things that's really kept him out of the top 5 finishes that this car is capable of.
So Allgaier, who runs a 63 in the first lap, comes back with a 22.71, a little bit slower in the second lap. But that's still good for fourth. Right now, they're all chasing the kid, the 19-year-old. Last year's pole winner on top again so far this year. Trevor Bayne, the fastest qualifier to O'Reilly Raceway Park. The 10-car Braun Racing being driven this weekend by Derek Griffin, an 18-year-old from South Bend, Indiana. His nationwide series debut, and Griffin's best time in his qualifying effort was 23.05, and that's 15th of the 17 that have qualified so far. Stephen Wallace in the 66 on track, and he puts a quick one up right out of the gate. 22.55, second quickest.
Fast lap. They completely changed the setup on that car, too. Kind of went back to what they had last week at Gateway, which brought them a 5th place finish. It looks like it's working for them right now.
Steven had a great run here. Last year was 3rd quickest in qualifying, finished the race 5th, and his second lap, 22.60. A little bit slower than the first, but that first one good for second quick with Trevor Bayne on top. So a good qualifying effort from the 66 and Stephen Wallace. Some good baseball action for you coming up tomorrow night and Monday night as well. First, it's Albert Pujols and the Cardinals taking on the division rival Chicago Cubs on ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball at 8 o'clock Eastern. And then on ESPN's Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern, it's Triple Crown contender Miguel Cabrera leading the Tigers against Evan Longoria and the Tampa Bay Rays. Both games also available on ESPN3.com. Division races starting to heat up, and the racing season starting to heat up as well, as we've just gone past that halfway point in the season. As you see Paul Menard on track in the 98, one of those double duty guys. He qualified 26th over at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway today for the Brickyard 400 tomorrow.
It was a solid lap, and Paul has quietly moved himself into 6th in points. He's been very consistent, rock solid all year.
Watching really hard up at Road America, our inaugural race up there. And Road Race King, I mean, he does really good on the road race. He's had a good run up there. And he's been real consistent in the Nationwide Series this year. Just like you said, Ricky, really moving himself up the ladder in the point system. And that's a good run for him right here. 3rd quick so far, 22.57. Shannon, you got the pole sitter down there so far.
Rusty, as a former driver, you know that it is a good sign when your crew chief walks up and he's got a smile from ear to ear. Jerry Baxter just walked up to Trevor Bayne. How much did you guys work on qualifying and practice today?
We actually didn't do a whole lot of short runs today because last year we qualified on the pole, which was great, but once we got the race trim, we kind of struggled on the longer runs on keeping that forward bite. You can see a lot of cars slipping and sliding around here today in practice, so we really worked on those longer runs of being able to turn on the bottom. Met with Johnny Benson earlier this week. He's going to help me out with some driver coach stuff, and he said, go out there and run a line like you got to pass somebody every lap in practice and get your car where you can come off the bottom and get the power down without spinning those tires, and that's really what we worked on. Seems like the car's still pretty good on a short run too, so we might get the best of both worlds here if we're lucky, but we'll just see what it gives us. I know we're really fast right now, and hopefully we can keep it up here if we end up on the pole today.
And you guys are right, he does have some momentum coming off that race last week at Gateway. Guys?
Thank you, Shannon. And there's the 21 of Morgan Shepherd, a 3-time winner here at O'Reilly Raceway Park. In fact, he's won nationwide races more than any other driver here. And Shepherd with a 22.89 on his first lap, and his second lap a 22.82, so a little bit quicker on his second lap. Good for 12th fastest so far. Well, Carl Edwards still to qualify. Let's get his thoughts. He's with Rick DeBrule.
Yeah. Hello there, Carl. Actually reaching the car, pulling out his earplug, getting ready to go. Talk about a couple of things. First off, second session, you really weren't that fast, but last year you proved you can come from the back and win this thing. Is it critical having that car right now?
Well, we didn't make a qualifying practice run, so we didn't make that fast time. But Eric Darnell worked really hard on this car, and Drew came here. He came here with a plan, and hopefully this fast in all Copart Fusion is fast in the race. this is one of those events where you practice in the heat, and then once it gets cooled off, you gotta have that smart crew chief that's going to be able to predict what happens. And I think I've got that, so hopefully it's good.
All right, we still have to talk about the incident at least a couple more times between now and the race, and then you can put it behind you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how do you race each other tonight with that probation hanging over your head? Do you just race and move on?
Yeah, we just race. I mean, this is auto racing. This has turned into something that's been talked about a lot, but it's auto racing. We're out here, we're driving as hard as we can, and we're doing the very best we can. And the coolest thing would be for tonight to be a good, hard race that's clean, like last week should have been. That'd be the best thing, and it'd be really cool to get another win here. That'd be great for me.
But first, he's got to qualify. Get out there.
Carl Edwards coming up. The 18 you see there with Jason Ratcliffe, the crew chief, on the right-hand side of the screen, watching his driver, Kyle Busch. And Kyle put a 22.63 on the board the first lap, at 22.59 in the second lap for fourth quickest. But, man, he had a handful in that first lap, didn't he, Ricky?
Yeah, he really did, coming up off of the corner. It's hard to go from a 2.5-mile track over here and make a perfect lap. What's key, though, is he stayed in the gas. He still put up a great lap because he stayed in the gas. A lot of drivers would have sort of aborted there and just given up the lap. He did not. I'm kind of looking at the quarter panel back there, see if he hit the wall, because he got awful close. Looks like he didn't.
Kyle's won here a couple of times, and of course he's won 7 times this season as you look at the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rolling out for his qualifying attempt.
Hey, Ricky's had a pretty good run here of late, Ricky. He really struggled earlier. He had a lot of crashes, but looks like he's settled down. It looks kind of got around him in a better way. He's running much better. Hasn't had the accidents and has had some good runs, especially the one that sticks out to my mind is the new car at Talladega, finished 3rd. The greatest contribution these young drivers can make is to bring the car back in one piece so the teams can evaluate if they improve the car or not. You can't evaluate the car if it's in several pieces.
And Stenhouse was involved in an accident 11 of his 17 starts this season, but a pretty solid qualifying run there, I would say, with his fastest lap at 22.56. Good for 3rd fastest of the qualifiers so far. 9th last week at Gateway, so he's got those, as you said, Rusty, he's got some momentum going. He's got it pointed in the right direction.
He sure does. And what's up with these young guys? They got the top 3 positions right now. It looks like they're looking good. This track's got a history of rewarding young drivers in qualifying.
In fact, the last 5 pole winners here at O'Reilly Raceway Park, age 25 or younger.
Did anybody tell Hornaday that before qualifying?
Trevor Bayne holding on to that because he's still a teenager. He's the fastest qualifier so far. But right now it's Reed Sorensen who's done a nice job for Braun in that 32 this year.
Yeah, he's been real strong on the short tracks. This is a guy you can't count out. He always runs good. And in fact, last week a good 2nd place finish at Gateway. Come across the line with a good run. And it wouldn't surprise me a bit if he wins over here because he's that good on these short racetracks.
22.75 his first lap. That's 13th quickest on the chart. Former pole winner here. Go back to 2005. He's also had a couple of really strong finishes here. 2nd in 2006, 3rd in 2005.
Didn't have a lot of practice today, and I think his 2nd lap will be better just because of that. Just needing more laps.
And it was better at 22.72. Bumps him up to the 12th spot. Carl Edwards still to come. Right now, the fastest is 19-year-old Trevor Bayne. He's on the pole so far at ORP. There's a look at Mike Bliss. He is qualified 16th quickest. His best time, 22.88. He's been around this track a few times. He's won 12 times in the USAC ranks, in the sprints, in the midgets, and the Silver Crowns. And this guy knows how to get around here pretty well, too. He started 42nd last year and charged through the field to win. Carl Edwards.
He flat knows how to do it. There is no doubt about that. But he's came from Indianapolis Motor Speedway running 205 miles an hour down into turn 1. And now he's going to jump in this car and try to get this little short track under control. And Ricky, that's got to be tough. Some of the best drivers in the world. But listen, the degree of difficulty going from that type discipline racetrack to this is stretched out pretty thin. That's about as diverse as it gets.
See Drew Blickensderfer, the crew chief, on the right-hand side of the screen. Remember, Carl said Drew had a little something in store for him. 22.67 his 2nd lap. That's the fastest, and that's 12th quickest so far. Shannon Spake has Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch, a very busy man this weekend, going back and forth between the big track and this one here at ORP. Your first laps in the car, how's the car?
I don't know. We'll find out in 200 more laps, but can't thank Fleet Locate enough and Joe Gibbs Racing Oil, everybody at this race team for putting a good car together, Coleman for practicing it. So
we'll see what we have tonight, but it wasn't really the lap I was looking for there. Real darty on entry, real tight on center, and then loose out by the wall. So exact all the wrong things that you want here.
You're working with a new spotter here this weekend. Is that more of a challenge at a short track like ORP?
It's no different really than anywhere else, and Eddie's been around for a long time, so he knows what he's doing. He's done a good job and did a good job last night.
Kyle Busch always makes it interesting here at ORP. Two-time winner at this racetrack.
Kyle finished second in the truck race last night to Ron Hornaday, and you see Johnny Sauter on track right now. He was fourth in the truck race, had a good run last night.
He had a good run. Talked to him earlier, and he said, Ricky, practice to qualifying in the truck was so difficult because it was hard to get a base. Same set of circumstances today, so he had a little experience at it. And he weighs in 17th.
22.87 his lap time.
Yeah, 27 car. We've seen Greg Biffle drive this car a lot at the beginning of the year with the Redman sponsorship on the side of it. And he really had that thing flying about every single time he got in it. This is a really good car, and these guys know it. I'm sure Johnny's loving being in this particular car because it's been fast, like I've said, all year long.
Good opportunity for him. He made his 200th career Nationwide Series start last weekend at Gateway. Looking to add to that total here tonight as you see Kenny Wallace, another one who's logged a lot of starts throughout his career, and Kenny's had some success here. He won the pole for this race back in 2001.
Likes this racetrack. He loves short track racing. Everybody nickname him the Herminator because he gets on those short tracks and just tries to get these guys, and that name stuck to him, but he just loves these bull rings and
the underfunded,
does quite well.
Rusty, the underfunded teams really look forward to coming to places like this because the driver can make a bigger difference here, in my opinion. And part of the reason is because the aerodynamic part of it doesn't exist. The aero pusher or the money that's spent on aerodynamics. This is pure short track racing where a driver can move his feet around, make adjustments inside the car, and Kenny's got so much experience at this. He can make a difference.
First lap was a 22.86, slowed down in the second lap, 23.13, so 17th on the speed chart so far for Kenny Wallace. Coming up on the motorsports calendar, well, lots of marks on your calendar if you're a race fan. Sports Center at the Brickyard tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. And then the NASCAR Nationwide Series will be right here at O'Reilly Raceway Park for the race tonight at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock on ESPN2. And then the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series gets it going at the Brickyard. The Brickyard 400 presented by Golden Corral tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. And the coverage starts at noon Eastern with the countdown show, and then the Mopar Mile High Nationals, the NHRA Nationals, the final tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Man, what a great weekend of racing here on ESPN and ESPN2. You see Brendan Gaughan on track in the 62 car.
22.87 his first lap. Probably not what he was looking for. Ricky, it looks like he got kind of high in turn 1 and 2 to me. A little higher than you and I talked about you need to be.
Yeah, and maybe carried a little extra speed in there, Rusty, and it just didn't grab a hold of the racetrack.
Gaughan's only pole came at Bristol last March. His first lap was 28.87, as you said, or 22.87, and he was a little bit quicker in his second lap at 22.86. That's 18th fastest so far. Trevor Bayne is the quickest on the provisional pole. Stephen Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Paul Menard, and Kyle Busch in the top 5 so far at O'Reilly Raceway Park. Qualifying for the NASCAR Nationwide Series at O'Reilly Raceway Park, Kevin Hamlin just finished up his qualifying run, 25th quickest, 22.97. Going to be in the field for his second Nationwide Series start of the season. And here's the 16 of Colin Brown, won the pole and finished a career best second here a couple of years ago.
Another young driver. We know, we've already talked about how this track treats young drivers in qualifying, so see if that trend continues.
16th quicker first lap at 22.80. He's another guy we talked about who's been getting better and better. He actually sat out for a little while. Matt Kenseth drove that car. Jack Roush wanted him to just kind of watch and learn a little bit, and it looks like he learned a lot. He ran great on the road course at Road America. Unfortunately, last week got caught up in a wreck and slid across the start-finish line and crashed after he went across the line. Nothing of his doing.
Finished 7th officially in that race at Gateway last week, and 7th is where he is slotted at this point in qualifying after his fast lap, the second lap at 22.60.
That's a big pickup. 0.2 of a second the second lap. He must have went down in the first lap and made a couple mistakes and figured out how not to do that again. Good recovery.
Yeah, and the two Roush cars in the top 7. You've got Stenhouse third quickest. Colin Brown is 7th fastest. Carl Edwards currently 13th on the chart, as you see Colin Brown rolling back through the pits. Brings us to the 90 of Danny O'Quinn.
And Vince, this is usually the part where we start with the go or go homers to see who's going to get bumped and who can make it. But we got 43 starters, so everybody's going to make the race tonight. They don't have to worry about getting bumped out of the field. This is our 31st person to attempt qualifying today.
Danny O'Quinn Jr. had a good run here a few years back. He finished 6th in 2006. Hasn't run the full schedule this year, but he's shown some good run occasionally.
I was a member of the Gong Show at Roush Fenway Racing back in 2005 when we evaluated all these young drivers, 25 of them. This young man stood out above all others at Martinsville, and it just stuck with me, and it helped him win the job. He's underrated. He deserves another chance.
Best start this season, 13th at Chicagoland. First lap was a 23.16. His second lap a 23.13. So far the slowest of the group. And let's go back downstairs. Rick DeBrule with Michael McDowell.
Yeah, standing by with one of the double duty drivers, although you don't get the helicopter and all the people to help you out, do you?
No helicopter. I drove the car back and forth. It's fun to do. I woke up this morning real nervous about how am I going to get back and forth, make the practices on both cars and get into the race. But excited to have the positive, encouraging Caleb car here, and hopefully we'll get a good qualifying in.
Now let's talk about how easy or hard is it to go from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway 2.5 miles to this little thing, 7/10.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier here because you have such a short track feel, and then you go to a big speedway that it's easy to distinguish the two. A lot of times on the same weekends at 1.5 miles, these cars drive so much different. It's a little bit tougher, so this was easy on that goes.
Right, and the good news is, as long as he gets a lap in and qualifies, he makes the race. He doesn't have to worry about times.
And he made the race at the big track today as well. 37th he'll line up tomorrow for the Brickyard 400. So shaping up to be a nice weekend for Michael McDowell, as you see the veteran Jeff Green on track. Green's first lap at 23.29. Taking the checkered flag on his second lap. Picks it up, 23.07. That's 29th out of the 32 that have gone across.
Jeff said to me earlier, it's just nice to be busy. It's nice to be here. It's not a perfect set of circumstances, but you need to be here if you want to do this. And maybe something good will come out of this that can expand their program.
And, it just doesn't seem right, Jeff Green. He's a champion. He runs up front all the time. I mean, when he had a good ride, he just needs to get his mojo back and get some funding where he can get a better car, a better ride, and get it done. Because I know he knows how to get it done.
Funding, the key word that everybody's battling with, as you see J.C. Stout on track in the 31, looking to make his first start of the 2010 season. As mentioned, 43 entered, so no one will be going home tonight. So it maybe takes a little bit of pressure off these guys that otherwise might have to be pushing it a little bit.
And you got to believe that means something, because they can concentrate on their race setup instead of just a qualifying setup to get in the race. I mean, knowing it's 43, hey, but completely changes your mindset when you're out of the top 30 in points.
It means everything to drivers like this who don't have that reference. They don't have a lot of experience, and they don't have to potentially sacrifice a race car to get it in the show.
He's made just 8 career starts as he takes the checkered flag for his qualifying attempt. A 23.38 the first lap, a 23.15 the second lap. So he picked up about 23 hundredths, and that's 33rd out of the 33 so far. But again, just being in the field, then going to work tonight is a big edge.
Oh, that's a big edge. I mean, just to know you can concentrate and do it that way is something else. And plus, these guys are really excited about this particular event. You talk about another guy really excited about this event. This is the kid I call the Heartbreak Kid. I mean, last week at Gateway, got tangled up in his big wreck. Take a look at this. You see Brad Keselowski sliding across the track here in a second. Here comes along. Boy, look at this. Shelby Howard hits him right there. Bam! Completely destroys his car. Had a top 10 run going. You really got to feel bad for Shelby Howard. Put all his money in this new car. The engine combination got it wiped out. But today, in practice, he was 10th quick in this backup car.
Yeah, these guys showing some resilience. The team obviously doesn't have the depth to be back, bringing cars every week. But they're going to make the best of this, and he did back it up in practice.
And he's an Indiana kid. You see 16th on the chart, 2278 from Greenwood, Indiana, just south of where we are here at O'Reilly Raceway Park. And his team, ML Motorsports, based north of here in Warsaw, Indiana. So this is a real hometown race for these guys, and it'd be great if they could have a good solid run today. And you see 16th overall, his fast lap 22.76. So let's go back downstairs, see who Shannon Spake has caught up with. Shannon?
Then someone else looking for a strong run here today is Colin Brown. You finished the race last weekend. It wasn't the finish that you wanted, a little bit graceful going around backwards, but still a finish. Second, you finished here in 2008, so you know what you need out of a car here at ORP. How's this thing going to race?
I think it'll race really good. We kind of fought being tight. We fought being tight in practice, and we got it freed up quite a bit, knowing it was probably going to tighten up tonight. And we got our car driving a little bit free at the end of practice, and figured if we can qualify a little bit on the free side, we should be really good to race tonight. And that's just how our balance was, just a little bit free everywhere. That prevents you from going really fast, but I think it'll be good tonight.
We've talked about you turning a corner. It's a tough season at the start of the season, and you guys have really improved. What has Jack said to you about your improvement?
Well, he's definitely been happy. The whole performance of this number 16 Conway Ford Fusion team has been a lot better. These guys have really been working a lot better together. My new crew chief, Ricky Vyers, has done a great job. And, Jack's just been happy that we've not been tearing stuff up as much and having more top 10s and, top 15 finishes.
All right, good run so far for Colin Brown, guys. Looking for a good run tonight to follow up last weekend. Good finish.
Yeah, and as you look at Johnny Chapman on the track in the 89, just to follow up with Colin Brown, made note of the fact that Ricky Vyers has come over to be his crew chief, and that's a well-respected guy working with the young kid there, Colin Brown.
It is, and it could be the catalyst for a young man like that to say, I'm just need a little extra help here and a little wind to my back, and it looks like it's working.
Chapman in that Morgan Shepherd car, the 89, and Chapman qualified first lap, was his fastest at 23.26. 35th out of 35 so far, but just to point out again, 43 on the entry list, so nobody going home tonight. So you'll definitely err on the side of caution. You don't want to have a problem during qualifying as you get a good look at the 49 and Mark Green out on track.
Mark Green's been around for a long time, a really good short track racer. He's a good person to put in your car if you need to try to figure out what's wrong with it. He's had 16 starts so far this year. A 17th place finish at Nashville has been his best so far, though.
Made his first career Nationwide Series start here on this track back in 1995. Well, he's got a lot of starts between then and now, and then here he is again tonight. And Mark Green, his first qualifying lap at 23.43.
For these teams, again, they know they're in the show, so it's just about improvement. It's about evaluating yourself, the car, and really just challenging yourself.
Best start this season, 17th at Nashville in June, and his best finish at Road America, where he brought it home 22nd. His second lap slower than the first, so he'll record a 23.43 as his fast time, and that's 36th on the chart. Trevor Bayne has been fastest so far. Last year's pole sitter is currently on the provisional pole here tonight. Look across town to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, that's a good shot of downtown Indianapolis and a little hazy view. The rivalry's being renewed as NASCAR's best head of the storied Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jimmy Johnson, can he win a third straight? Maybe it's going to be Jeff Gordon winning for a fifth time at the Brickyard. And, of course, Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski back in Cup cars for the first time since their fender rubbing action last week at Gateway. The Brickyard 400 tomorrow, 1 Eastern on ESPN. Coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at noon. The telecast presented by Golden Corral. Great look at the pagoda, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Phenomenal experience to be able to race there.
It's an honor. There's no doubt about that. And take a look right now at David Starr driving the 05 car. David had a great run last night in the Truck Series. Finished 9th here. Got to believe that he learned a lot about the night's race, just like Ron Hornaday did, Ricky.
Yeah, you're right, Rusty. There's a lot of the theme here with these drivers that have to qualify is putting veteran drivers in. And David's one of those veteran drivers, over 250 Truck Series starts.
And a good qualifying run, 22.70 his second lap. That was his fastest of the two, and that's good for 14th on the chart, so solid run for David Starr. How much transfers, and we heard Ron Hornaday talk about it a little bit, transfers from what they run in the trucks to what they run in the Nationwide Series cars, particularly a place like here, it's got to be an advantage.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind, Vince, is air pressure settings. It's the same tire they're running. I think the pressures will be almost identical between the trucks and the Nationwide cars, and that's something that's very, very key because let's face it, the tires are the first thing to touch the racetrack. That's where the grip's at. You got to get the pressures right.
Ron Hornaday and Ernie Cope told me this morning that they actually took the shocks off the truck and put them on this car, so it must translate.
And that'd be good news for Hornaday and Cope since Hornaday won that race last night. As you see Chris Lawson on track in the 52, trying to make his third Nationwide Series start of the season. 24.04, his first qualifying lap.
Got a little better lap going to second lap. It looks like that first lap was one of the slowest in the fields, but he's shutting her down, so he knows he's locked in. 38th quick.
Fastest so far is the man who was on pole a year ago here at O'Reilly Raceway Park, and that's Trevor Bayne driving the 99. NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying from Indianapolis. Qualifying for the NASCAR Nationwide Series race a little bit later tonight at O'Reilly Raceway Park. That's the 91 of Chase Miller. Qualified 11th quick at Gateway last week and not quite as fast this time at ORP, 23.28 his first lap, which was the fastest of the two. Currently 37th of the 39 who have qualified. Provisional pole sitter is Trevor Bayne, Stephen Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Paul Menard, Kyle Busch. The five fastest we've had so far, and here's Dennis Setzer in the 92.
You know, some drivers are outstanding, very few, but are outstanding everywhere they go. Most drivers have a favorite discipline, you know, intermediate, super speedway, or short track. Dennis Setzer, in my opinion, is a short track expert. He's got 2 Nationwide Series wins at Hickory and South Boston. Those are about as short as they get.
How many times have we seen him go to Martinsville, Virginia, in those trucks or different cars and just flat fly around those short tracks? I mean, everybody in the industry knows that this guy right here flat knows how to get it done in the short track. You put him in a really, really good car, hey, he can win this thing tonight.
He's a contender.
He had a pretty solid race last night in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Finished 12th here at O'Reilly Raceway Park. His first lap, the quickest of the two, 23.33. So Dennis Setzer will be in, as we noted earlier, 43 entered and 43 spots available, so nobody goes home tonight.
And that's a good field, just like we talked about. My gosh, I would hate to be in this position where you got to qualify every single week. They got to have a lot of comfort knowing they're all locked in.
Still have a couple of more qualifiers yet to go. Everybody's chasing the kid, 19-year-old Trevor Bayne. He's the fastest at O'Reilly Raceway Park. There's the 81 of Michael McDowell. You see his times. 22.97 his fast lap, currently 28th. McDowell, one of those double-duty guys. He'll start 37th tomorrow at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Brickyard 400.
See the 26 car there, Brian Keselowski. Pretty good little qualifier. I've seen him run really quick at certain times of the year trying to get this baby in the field, and a lot of pressure, like I said, but he's got an easy one this weekend, but usually every week he's got to really drive the wheels off this thing to make it.
Maybe get a little help from his brother.
I wonder if his brother helps him.
Well, I would think.
Got to slide him a little cash every now and then, right?
You always help your brothers, right?
I do. I still do.
15 starts for Brian Keselowski so far this season. His best finish, 11th at Daytona. You see his lap time, 22.95 first time around. It's not too bad. 28th quickest.
And the second lap's looking even better. And he's sort of separating himself from these other cars of late.
Indeed, up to 22nd on the chart with a 22.86. So a nice qualifying run for Brian Keselowski. Catch Sports Center at the Brickyard tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. All the latest from what happened at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway today. Juan Pablo Montoya on pole. NASCAR Nationwide Series at O'Reilly Raceway Park. We'll be right back here tonight, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN for the Kroger 200. NASCAR Now presented by 5 Hour Energy tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock on ESPN2. Get you ready for the Brickyard 400. And then the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. The Brickyard 400 presented by Golden Corral. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. Coverage starts at noon Eastern with countdown. And the Mopar Mile High NHRA Nationals, the final tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Beautiful shot from high up above here at O'Reilly Raceway Park. They're expecting close to 30,000 for the race tonight.
You know what I see down there right now? The smartest guy in the field. The 24 car Eric McClure. You know why? He's pitted right between Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards. He's going to get a lot of TV time tonight.
Yes. Keselowski and Edwards, just one pit box separating the two at the head of the line tonight. And that guy, Eric McClure, will be pitting right square between the two of them.
Take a look at that right there. He's like, okay, I want to get Hefty a little attention. Look, folks, with that controversy that happened last week, you know we're going to talk about those two tonight, Keselowski and Edwards.
Not a bad idea to separate them by at least one stall.
That's right.
Eric McClure qualifies in safely, 26th fastest so far. But there's the young guy, and he's got plenty of reason to smile. For the second year in a row, Trevor Bayne on pole at O'Reilly Raceway Park. A beautiful night in Indianapolis. Qualifying has just concluded at O'Reilly Raceway Park for tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series 200-lap event. Trevor Bayne, the fastest in qualifying. Tell you what, he and crew chief Jerry Baxter and the engineers at Michael Waltrip Racing have hit upon something. Pole 2 weeks in a row for Trevor Bayne. Rick DeBrule?
Yeah, not just 2 weeks in a row, but 2 years in a row. You know, the only person that's done that in 13 years. All right, before the race, you said you really weren't working on a qualifying setup. So what does this say about your race setup?
Well, this says it's pretty awesome. You know, I mean, this is such a great experience to be able to set the pole 2 weeks in a row, and to know that we've got a great race car on a long run is even better. You know, that gives me that much more confidence. Last weekend, I was like, man, we're fast for a couple laps, but I don't know how long it'll last, and it turned into a third-place finish. So now this week, knowing we've got a great Outback here Toyota for the long runs too, just boosts us that much more.
Now, you said you sat and watched last year's race, the in-car from your car, and you learned something. What did you learn?
I did. I learned a lot, and that was one of the things that I noticed last year is that I didn't work on the car coming off the corner enough. You know, I slipped and slided so much once I lost the lead there after that caution. You know, I fell back to like 7th, and I had to work my way back through the field, and I just didn't have the forward bite that I needed. So we really worked a lot on that today. Talked to Johnny Benson earlier this week, and that's something that he kept drilling into my head. You know, but this just says so much for our race team at Diamond Waltrip Racing. I mean, we've started building all of our cars in-house, and we've been able to see a huge difference in the last few weeks of doing all this stuff in-house and just having these great sponsors on board. It's all going good for us.
All right, we're about to find out tonight just how much he learned.
Ninth place qualifying effort for Justin Allgaier. Justin, your teammate Parker Kligerman gave me and Rick DeBrule a ride around this track today. It was a little hairy at sometimes, but what's your fast line around ORP?
I'll tell you, this is a really cool racetrack. There's so many lanes you can run. I've actually been in probably all of them already today in practice, just trying to get something that was really comfortable. And Verizon Dodge guys did a great job throughout practice. We weren't really where we wanted to be at, and so we made some adjustments for qualifying. Car was awesome in qualifying. Unfortunately, we picked up 0.4 of a second, I think, and we're still 9th. So it's frustrating to get it as bad of a qualifying run as we did, but at the end of the day, it's all about where you finish. And we feel like we got a great car for the long haul, and hopefully we can start clicking off some spots as soon as they get some laps on the tires.
Vince, isn't that the truth? It's all about where you finish.
That's right, and Allgaier finished first at Bristol. He'd like to repeat that here tonight. He'll start 9th as we take a look at the grid. And Trevor Bayne on pole. Great qualifying effort from Stephen Wallace. He had a terrific run here last year. Qualifies on the outside of the front row here tonight.
Good comeback for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., too. I mean, he really needs some good luck. He's done a good job.
Got some great talent here back toward the middle of the pack. It's going to make it exciting tonight.
Ron Hornaday won the truck race last night. He starts in row 6 with another former winner here at Raceway Park, Jason Leffler.
Take a look at Mike Bliss. He's going to probably be pretty good tonight. Loves his short tracks. And Josh Wise, we've been talking about him a lot. He's in a really good car tonight. I expect him to have a good run.
Josh Wise, part of that junior motorsports camp, along with Eric Almirola. And there's Kevin Hamlin, Joe Nemechek, some names there that you recognize. Tony Raines, an Indiana guy from up north, so I know he'd like to have a good showing here tonight at O'Reilly Raceway Park. And the final three with Setzer, Mark Green, and Chris Lawson. The field is set for 43 tonight, and that man, Trevor Bayne, 2 weeks in a row on pole. Jerry Baxter, the veteran crew chief. Ricky, you talked about that combination of the veteran with the young driver.
Last 2 weeks have been so impressive. Second place to 12th place were separated by 1/10 of a second. Trevor Bayne won the pole over the second place by more than 1/10 of a second, and they weren't even focused on qualifying. It's going to give us plenty to watch for tonight.
Well, remember, they practiced, they qualified during the day for the night's race. It's going to get dark, no doubt about that. The track's going to change. I think these guys are in for a tough night. I expect some aggressive driving tonight, and tempers are probably going to flare, because I know when I was driving and it was hot, I'd get mad pretty easy.
Well, they set the field. Now it's time to go racing. We'll kick it off tonight. The NASCAR Countdown at 7:30 Eastern over on ESPN. Coming up next on ESPN2, it's the Mopar Mile High NHRA Nationals qualifying. Congratulations to our pole winner, Trevor Bayne. Man, another good night for the young guys. The top three drivers, age 22 or younger. Bayne, 19, Stephen Wallace, 22, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., just 22. We'll have all the stars coming back tonight. Brad Keselowski, Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch. We'll have them all. They're pulling double duty. The NASCAR Nationwide Series race tonight from O'Reilly Raceway Park. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.